Welcome back to the den for another episode of Rambles, Rants, and Razors. That's right. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. In this episode, I just want to ramble a little bit, and then that will lead us into another episode that I have planned that'll be more of a full-on rant. So in this one, I've been thinking, for most men, shaving is a chore, a routine at best. Those of us in the hobby have been enlightened, shall we say. And thinking about all that also had me thinking about a few other things. There's a lot of shaving trifectas. Not a lot, but there's a few that had me thinking. One, shaving is basically three parts, if you want it to be. You have your post, your shave, you have your pre, your post, and your shave. No. You have your pre, you have your shave, and you have your post. It took me 3 times to get it right. Trifecta. When it comes to a razor and the blade in there and the efficiency and how that razor shaves, I have another trifecta, and that is found in the angle, the gap, and the exposure. Another trifecta is the shave itself with the grain, across the grain, against the grain. You got me thinking, so while there's more than 3 fibers, there certainly is 3 main fibers that dominate the market, and that would be synthetic, badger, and boar. Probably in that order when it comes to sales. I don't know, I'm just guessing. Is there any others that I'm missing? Give that a little bit of thought this morning when I was thinking about this. I can't really think of any other ones that really truly applied, but if you guys can think of something, throw it at me. I'd love to hear it. Something else I wanted to ramble about. So this is a ramble, right? So it doesn't have to be cohesive or make sense, okay? Just different things I've been thinking about, different comments that come up in videos, or different things I talk about with friends in the community, that kind of thing. Things that I would love to bring up in a video, a shave review, but there's really just not time or anything like that, or it's not appropriate or whatever. So, rambling on. When I do reviews, I'm definitely a frag head, and I've been a frag head since before I had ever heard of that term or even knew what it was. I've always had, 5 to 10 or more fragrances, and I've always loved them, and I've always wanted to have more. Going back to even high school, I had tons. So over the years, I've developed a nose, and 6 years ago or so is when I started taking tips and pointers from different people, mostly Douglas Smythe of PAA Shaving, and doing the whole essential oils and really learning fragrances. I actually just picked up another $50 worth, plus I got a couple of free things from Eden Botanicals. I can't wait for that to get here. A handful of essential oils, 8 different ones I think, paid for 6 because 2 of them were for free. Rambling. But that brought me to thinking about some things that people have asked me and some things that I've also thought about. Like when it comes to reviews, I keep waiting for Doug to send me something that I don't like. But that's not likely to happen. Like I said before, there's only 8 fragrances of his that he's ever made that I'm not crazy about. And I have samples of them, and I continue to revisit them. The list used to actually be a little bit longer, but I came around to those fragrances and ended up buying them. So when and if something does come around that I don't like, I believe there's 3 or 4 positive things at the bare minimum that I could say about that fragrance while still conveying to you, the viewer, that is not something that I personally would wear. Anise, I've shared my feelings, with black licorice in my story with that. That's in my Black Rock from Macduff's shave. I discussed that story and why I'm still turned off this day by the smell of black licorice, the smell of anise. Old Strathcona from MacDuff's has a lot of that in it. I guess the new version doesn't, his V4. I've only tried the V2. But anywho, so when it comes to like my YouTube videos and reviews and stuff like that, when I do come across something that I don't like and isn't for me, if I review it, it's because I found positive things in it that I can say about it. If somebody was to send me something and I couldn't find 3 or 4 nice things to say about it, I would contact that company, that person, and I would tell them, hey, this product isn't for me. I would then, offer to send it back and pay to ship it back. And I would also, if they wanted to, offer to send it to somebody like Glenn, Mike Bailey, Scott Howard, that I think might enjoy it and have them review it. So if I review something and it actually makes it to YouTube for your eyes, it's because I've already found 3 or 4 things that I can say about it. I'm still new at this. I've only been doing this about a year. I still have never come across a fragrance that I've rejected. And I don't ever see that happening because of the way that I approach it. You give me another week with this, and that's one of the reasons why, too, that, Thought Forms is a great example. Even though if you saw my first impressions of this, I've had it for several months now in this form of a sample. But let's say I didn't. I would still approach it the same way that I'm going to approach it now. And that is, I would use it 4 or 5 times at the bare minimum, and then do the shave with it, much like I did Allura. And so many others, really. So that's that. I think I did a good job of delivering that. And when it comes to hardware and stuff like that, I'm not going to review garbage. And I'm not here to put companies down or anything like that. So while there be things that I might share with people one-on-one and privately, I'm not going to do anything to hurt small business. Companies like Procter & Gamble, whoever, right? My one little voice has no impact on them, but I don't want to be the guy who, in any way whatsoever, gets the ball rolling in a negative way towards a small business unnecessarily, just because of your mileage may vary type of thing. And when it comes down to fragrances, that's exactly what we're talking about. So look for some giveaways. This has gone way longer than I wanted it to. Y'all take care. Thank you for listening to my ramble. And in the next one, I'll talk about inflation, and I'll rant my ass off on that one. Hope this makes sense. Yakety schmackety. Thanks again. Take care of yourself.